What's going on, When It's Dialogue family? It's Leon again, checking in with you. Shake my hand. I trust that y'all having another productive and positive week. As always, today we're doing another special episode of My Secret Mentor, the place where we highlight black entrepreneurs in the DMV area specifically. Today, I got a special guest in the building with me. Now, I know you heard the saying, teach a man how to fish and he can go fishing forever, right? Okay. The CEO behind Anchor Incorporated, Mr. Eric Fisherman Price. How are you doing today?
Fine to yourself, brother.
Amazing.
That's good to hear.
All right, so the people want to know. They eager to know. How did you start Anchor Inc?
Well, from the time that I started fishing, I was real young, and growing up, I didn't see no companies, no camps, nobody really promoting fishing lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, well, I say last year, from going out fishing as much as I have, and I see a lot more kids out trying to do something other than football or your regular sport, I start thinking to myself, I'm like, well, what can I teach the kids about fishing? And it got down to the basics, and it's like, how many kids know how to cast a rod?
Not many.
But how many kids know how to throw a football?
Everyone that's held the football.
A lot of
opportunity.
Them, right? It's pretty much the same motion. But when you think of it as fishing, a lot of people think of fishing as like, oh, well, it's some old man sport. And I don't got time. I don't have the time for patience. So it's like I wanted to calm the kids down with teaching them some life lessons. I wanted to teach them how to basically do something on their own and step out of a comfort zone into another one.
Yeah.
So that all kind of based behind the business. It's like, how can I start something that I can pass down to my son, first of all? How can I start something where he can teach others? How can we start something where we can really expand people's mind and people's activities other than just the norm in the city? You don't see a lot of it. I really didn't grow up. Only time that I was fishing was with my dad, my uncles, like all the older generation that really had the time to do it.
you got that patience instilled in you at an early age.
Early age. I needed it because I had an older brother, and like we stayed fighting all the time.
Yeah,
I have an older brother. I'm not gonna say I had an older brother. I have an older brother, but at the time, he was a real older brother. He was bullying me.
Yeah, he wanted to do older brother stuff.
But he was also out fishing with us too. And like that's where a lot of my background comes from. A lot of tradition comes from him and my dad, his dad. So when we would go out, we would all have just a positive vibe. And you would learn within the experience. It wouldn't just be a lesson. Like, come out here, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would really enjoy your time out there. It was a fun experience as well. And when you left, you was like, well, I know how to catch my own fish. You know what I'm saying? I know how to scoop a crab out of the water with a net. Before I got here, I didn't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So as the time went on, it's like,
and when did you say you first started this again?
When I was 3.
Come on, 3?
3. I remember early. I remember my first fish, and it was we were fishing down off of Eastern Avenue. It was a spot like right up under the bridge. And my dad, he took me out there, and I had a rod, one of those little mini kid rods that you get from Walmart.
I've seen them on Pokemon before.
Yeah, it's like one of those little rods, and he taught me how to cast it out. And at the time, it was like a push button. They make it simple for kids, where you just push a button, throw it out there, just don't throw your rod in the water. So it's like once I did that, my first fish was maybe like it was a perch, and I remember it was about that big.
You caught it the first time, the first day?
Yeah, first day. First day we went out. It was a perch about that big. And I'm like, yeah, Pop, it's a keeper? He's like, yeah, it's a keeper. And throw it in from there on. It's like, I always loved fishing with my dad. Even with my mom, too. Even my mom would get out.
It was a family event.
Yeah, it was a whole family event. We would find different spots. And at the time, my dad used to work down at the bakery.
Okay.
And it was a lot of spots around there, like, just little fishing holes we would go in, like where people would break into, like cut the gates open and go up under the bridge and all of that stuff. It was like an adventure to me. Like we would leave out the house. Before we left out the house, my dad would say, go in the backyard, dig up some worms. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
so y'all get y'all bait straight up from
right
the ground.
out the backyard.
You ain't had to go to the store to go look.
My dad,
right
he wanted to save as much money as possible when it came to fishing because he knew the expense of it.
Yeah.
He already spent money on the fishing rods and the rails, the line, the weight, the hooks, and all that stuff. He like, man, if we can save money on bait, why not? So I'll be in the backyard with a shovel taller than me.
just in there. Hopefully you had the right shovels. I learned the hard way about shovels. I was like, I didn't know it was different type of shovels.
Yeah, it's different types. It's the pointy ones and then it's the flat one that you just scoop stuff up with. Yeah. But it had that point, and you digging, and I come out with about 12 worms, put them in a jar. He like, all right, we going, we out. We go, enjoy our time. We got drinks. We got our juice. He got he's sitting back with his beer. His brothers, he got his birthday beer. My uncles, and it's just a experience, and that's what I wanted to give people.
The experience of it all.
Yeah, just the experience, because a lot of people out
and
here,
the memories.
And it's simple memories, and to start some type of tradition. If you can't, I feel that it's important to start something with your kid that both of you can enjoy. Yeah, because it's nothing wrong with your kid enjoying something on their own or learning something that they can be unique in. But I feel it's important that with me and my kid, if I can enjoy something with him, my bond to be strong with him. And I don't see that a lot out here now. Yeah. In fathers, like I know a lot of great fathers in my circle. You get what I'm saying? I know a lot of great fathers that I've heard of. Yeah. But it's like I just want everybody to be on the same page as doing something with your kids. Don't just sit them in a corner and say, well, you know how to do that. You can do it. Just go do it by yourself.
So there's a bonding experience. It's a bonding experience. Learning experience.
The kids
it's a
see
growth
everything
experience.
that you do. Yeah. My kid, my son, he sees everything that I do as far as the fishing. When he comes out.
Especially with kids, they want to emulate it. So they see you doing something. He wants to
do it so bad to the point where he would mess up something, and all it takes is I give him a little look, and he like,
all right, I'm gonna get it right the next time.
Yeah, I get it right the next time. And mind you, he's 6. He's 6.
Okay.
He's been fishing with me. I've been taking him out since he was 3. Since he was.
You gotta carry the tradition on.
Like I just figured, like, because it was a lot of time with just me, him, his mom, and we would just go out and do things. And it's like my main thing that I like to do is fishing. So why not get the family involved into it?
Get everybody involved. Everybody enjoy it.
Yep.
And the perks of it is growth. So when it comes to the education side of it, like how did you become, because you've been doing it since you were 3. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you evolved your techniques since then. So how did you get like more education behind to figure out how to do this better at a higher level?
Watching a lot of fishing shows.
What's your favorite one?
Right now is River Monsters, because I like the fish that they catch on there. They like some real wild fish that nobody else would even think about catching. But it's like when growing up watching like ESPN, once the games will go off or the days that the games like basketball, football wouldn't be on, fishing is always there. It's overlooked. It's overlooked.
It's like it's on for a reason.
You scroll down football, fishing, pro fishing, basketball, and this, that, and the third. But I'm the one that's like, well, somebody fishing out here. Let me look at that. And as soon as I get on there, people like they doing the trophy fishing. Some guy out there, just him by himself with a camera crew. And
I wonder how the camera crew, did that affect them like fishing?
No, like the camera crew would be on a whole nother boat. Some like the boats would only carry about 2-3 people. It'd be maybe one camera guy on the boat, one guy with a mic on the boat, and just the guy fishing on his boat. And I always found that to be interesting. I'm like, man, it would be cool if I could get up, if I could do that one day. If I could
get the cameras to follow you out there.
Yeah, if I could be the first, like, I always, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to be the first black guy on ESPN with my own boat, just fishing, just minding my business, fishing, making money off of these fish.
Like, y'all want to record me doing something I like doing anyway?
Exactly. I'm like, these guys are really living life, doing what they want. And to me, it's like, why can't I do it? Like, why can't I do it now?
Yeah.
A lot of them were like older gentlemen. I seen a few young faces out there, but it's like, why can't I do it now? And that's what put me forth with the business. What can I do now to put my name out there and to get this message out here that everybody can learn how to do something? If it's not fishing, get in touch with nature, especially now.
Yeah, it's necessary to get in touch with nature. Like, you experience nature, the more you out there with it, the more the appreciation you have for it.
Now, with everything that's going on, we have to learn to do a lot for ourselves.
Yeah, that disconnect, like to disconnect from technology for a little while to get your mind clear.
It's important. The technology is necessary in some cases, but if you know how to get out here and catch your own food and provide for yourself, make a living for yourself, put a roof over your own head, you don't really need that for nothing except for talking.
And that's why I believe that this right now is an excellent business model. And while a lot of people during COVID season has been struggling, which is a struggle for a lot of people, which I understand, but you learn to pivot. And like this particular business model being right now, especially, because a lot of people, once this happened, there's a lot of things that went up. Food, a lot of people was looking for food. A lot of people trying to buy guns and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But it was like, well, I need to grow my own food. I need to catch my own food. How do I do that? Let me go look at YouTube. Now, they're going to go to YouTube technology, which is cool. But you need the actual implementation. Yeah. And you're taking people out there to implement this in real time and say, okay, this is exactly how you do this. So it's no
to where you can,
wishy-washy wondering.
Yep. No mistakes. If you get, it's going to be a lot of mistakes. And that's the whole point of hand on hand.
Yeah, like, so you're out there with an expert, though. That's the great part of it.
I consider myself a natural teacher.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Because over the years, I've picked up, like you said, I picked up my own techniques with how to catch fish, how different reactions, how my rod reacts when it's in the water, when certain fish are on it, how certain fish bite.
So you can tell that just from the how
all of them don't bite the same, and it's.
What's the most aggressive fish that you might catch?
The most aggressive fish?
Yeah, so like you out there, your rod starts jiggling, you grab it. It might be a small fish, but it's an aggressive.
The most aggressive fish that I've caught was a catfish.
Okay.
Because the head on a catfish is maybe, no offense, bigger than your head.
Okay.
A big catfish is maybe, and
catfish.
His mouth can open up as big as your head. Like, that's the biggest catfish I've caught. And it was like stretched out like right here, about that wide. And when they bite, they pull your rod all the way down the water. They bite, they chomp, and they go right down.
So do you gotta do that thing where you, like, if you on a boat, you gotta put your foot on the side of the boat and lean back?
Oh, you're gonna have to sit down. You're gonna have to sit down. If it's big enough, it's gonna try to pull you with it. And if you don't got no weight on you, no stomach fat.
You ever see somebody get pulled in the water? No. Oh, that's good. They just let the rod go at that point.
Yeah, I've seen people just let the rod go plenty of times, but I haven't seen anybody pulled in the water. Not yet.
Oh, okay, let's hope nobody get pulled in the water. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a learning experience simply because when you get out and do it and you make your own mistake, you'll figure out how to fix it yourself rather than be over your shoulder the entire time. Like, you got to do it that way. You got to do it that way, because I wasn't taught like that.
Yeah, I think the power of a group as well, because you don't want to be the weakest. Nobody wants to be the weakest link in the group,
and it's
going to propel you a little bit to pay attention a little. Oh man, I don't want to be that one person.
It gets like that in, like, when I do my lessons and bring out groups, especially when I bring kids out. I like to hype the kids out, especially if you, from the smallest fish you catch to the biggest fish you catch. I hype you up, especially if it's your first fish. And it's like, when we go out, I make it kind of a competition.
Okay.
How fast can you learn how to do this? How fast can you get your rod into the water? How big of a fish you can catch? How many fish you can catch? And within that, you make your mistakes. Some kids, they go out and they throw a weight, snap the weight off the line and throw it in the water. I've had kids come out and hook their hooks to a chair or something, or almost hook themselves, and that's the safety part of it.
Nobody.
No, okay. Not yet, and that's the safety part of it. I preach safety. It's before I put a rod in their hand, it's safety first. You don't want nobody around you. You don't want one of those hooks to get into you, because I've had plenty of them hook into me, and it's not a fun deal. Getting them out. It's not a fun deal getting them out, because they definitely leave scars. And once you got safety and once you have your technique, everything else is pretty much on you. I'm just there to guide you and just look at you the entire time, pretty much. But at the same time, I'm teaching. Everybody needs that certain factors like, well, what do I do when I pick the rod up? Some people don't know when you pick the rod up, when a fish bite, you got to pull back. You just can't pick the rod up. Well, he gonna run away with your bait. And it's the certain stuff like that.
Yeah, I understand these
techniques.
techniques.
You need timing. You need patience to pay attention to it. And when you put that in kids,
and
you see them grow about 10 years later with that same patience, you'd be amazed at what kind of decisions they make.
Yeah, they say when you start children off, like, for instance, hunting, fishing, and gardening early, like, you'll see that growth in them. It grows up. They grow up with those new techniques, that new mind state of, like you said, patience. And you're able to make better decisions ultimately.
Better decisions ultimately.
Just rash decisions.
Throughout life, period. I know I have. And, like, I think if it wasn't for fishing and, like, my mom and just me being willing to go out and just listen for a second, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have the thought process that I have now because I'm way more patient with my thoughts and more logical. I don't react just to react. I kind of play things out. And I say my mom because she got me into chess.
Okay.
She got me into chess when I was in middle school. And I ended
up... Chess club?
Yeah, chess club.
My brother was in the chess club.
And I ended up winning the tournament for the middle school that we had. And it gave me so much confidence because I had learned that year. And the guy that I learned it from was in a flea market. My mother used to sell pies, sweet potato pies.
Which flea market?
North Point.
North Point? Okay. Yeah. I used to go there a lot when I was younger.
Yeah, she used to sell pies.
I remember a guy with a chessboard. That's what I was asking.
It was a guy, I don't know, he was a heavyset guy and he had dreads.
Okay.
He had dreads and he always was in there playing chess. And I always used to look at him, my mom, like, you want to play? I'm like, yeah, I'll play. I just don't know how to play. Is it checkers?
Yeah.
Like, I know how to play checkers.
It moves different.
Easy.
And you just get excited about just moving the pieces.
She go over there and ask him, can you play? And he taught me every single piece, that like how it moves, which way it's supposed to move, and what you can do with it. And that took time. It took patience for me to even just make my first move or just do anything on the board. But after a while, my mother started working with it. She started learning herself and teaching me while she was learning. And once I got in the tournament in school, it was just like that. It was just like one.
Well, y'all was practicing, sparring with each other. Yeah,
as well? we would spawn. Like, we would have literal practice days where it would be maybe about 20, 30 of us in a room playing chess. It's about 15 chessboards around in a classroom just playing chess. And my mom, she made sure that this club pushed on in middle school.
Okay.
Because it wasn't nowhere else. She made sure that this club, because she was my PTA president all 3 years in middle school.
So she was there the whole time along. Like, come on, this was working.
She made sure that I was in there doing something productive after school.
Sharpening your mind constantly.
Sharpening my mind and putting patience into me.
Because chess, you can't just make moves. I was actually playing my uncle, Sunday? We went to a surprise party for him. Mm-hmm. He had a chessboard set up in the basement. I said, okay, I've been practicing chess every night on my tablet. He doesn't know what's about to happen.
I do the same thing with my phone.
5 moves later, I'm in checkmate. I'm like, I didn't know what was about to happen. He already had a chessboard here. I should have known something was up.
Exactly. You got to beware of that. So from that point on, from getting patience from that and it changing the way my thought process, and I grew up to the man I am now, and I want to give back to all kids.
So you back here giving out back to the community.
I want to give back to the community, period. And I feel like it's important, especially in our community. Like the other day, I went out.
Imperative.
I went out to. I think I went out there. I forgot what county I was in. But I started looking around. I saw tennis courts everywhere. And I'm like, why don't they have any basketball courts?
Yeah, there's a lot of tennis courts. And tennis is kind of fun. Once, like you said, all these sports are fun. I played soccer for the first time last year. and I was so sore. My legs were sore. I was like, man, I've been playing basketball, jumping and stuff. It's nothing. It's just not the same. Of course, I don't want to be the worst, so I'm gonna come back again. I'm gonna come back again. I'm gonna come back again.
You start
Can I
doing
get
it.
better?
So I look and I'm like, okay, it's a lot of tennis courts everywhere, but I don't see that many people on. I don't see that many young people on. When I look around, I see a lot of mid-aged white people, Caucasian people, and some black people. And I look and I'm like, well, how many kids can I get out into a tennis court? How many kids can I get out to do something?
Yeah, something active.
Yeah, something active. Something active. And me growing up, I was outside all day until the lights cut on.
Yeah, kids don't be outside as much, it seems like.
Yeah, kids don't be outside because there's really nothing to do out here. Or it's too dangerous.
Yeah, they closing a lot of recs.
Yeah,
they
close now.
They took all the basketball courts. I was like, they took the goals off?
They recently just put the rims
back,
on around my house. I don't know where else. But when I look at that, I'm like, man, I want to get kids out to do as much as possible. If it's not just fishing, I want to get them out to do something.
Yeah.
Something, period. And it's like, how many people can I get together to rally and say, okay, well, we're going to get a bunch of these kids together and we're going to do something. And like I applaud my curly brother, Anthony. His name Ant-Man. You heard of him?
I might have.
Cool Ant on Instagram.
Okay.
He started the building bodies and bonds. And what he's doing is he just
shout out to building bodies and bonds.
Shout out to building bodies and bonds because I believe in that. He got a lot of people together, and he told me, he said, "Man, I want to just get people together for a new vibe on the city. I want a new outlook on the city. I want people to look at us like we're actually growing and not just dangerous." You understand? And it's like I said, man, that's a brilliant idea. And from week 1 till now, it's hundreds of people out there. They riding bikes, riding dirt bikes. It's just a bunch of people coming together and bonding for health and awareness. And it's like, if I could do something, it's half as great as that, because I see it as something great. Yeah. It's like growing up in this city, I haven't seen it.
I see a lot of people trying to make change.
Trying to make change and trying to give a positive outlook to something that's important. I said, if I can do that with fishing, that's my dream. It's pretty much like an overall dream. If I can, like you said, if you can teach a man how to fish, he won't just feed himself, he'll feed his family. He'll feed his village.
Yes.
And they all eat.
Everybody's eating.
I believe in that wholeheartedly.
You're trying to make sure everybody's eating.
I'm trying to make sure everybody eat and everybody have some stability and keep tradition.
And it's necessary, especially now that we got technology now, because you could have been the best fisher in your neighborhood, but unless I lived in your neighborhood, interacted with you, I would have never known I could meet somebody that know how to fish, let alone show me.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So now that we got this access, we know, okay, he's in all our neighborhoods. He's from where we're from, so therefore it's not impractical to think that I can't obtain the same thing because I've seen it happen. Now that I've seen it happen, I can emulate that. It's still that child's mind state of domestication. It's like, okay, well, I'm going through this domestication, and you should never think you're out of the domestication period where you can't learn more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, even at my age right now, I never fished. But you don't think I'm going to go out with him and learn how to fish? I'm about to do it. I'm about to get my friends, hey, bring the kids. We're going to go out here and fish because this is something that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary. We don't need to wait for the next pandemic or the next bad thing to happen when it's too late. We need to already have this skill. We need to already be making these connections. We need to already be building. So with that being said, do you remember the first time you set out, because you started this business, but do you remember the first time your first customer, the first group you went out there with? Not as a hobby, but as a paid experience.
Paid experience. The first customer was really Anthony.
Okay.
Well, no. It was Anthony along with my cousins. My cousins, they called me. They said, "Man, we want to support." They just wanted to support. She wanted to get her son out there, and Anthony, he came out cool, and he came out. My cousin came out, and we went to Cox Point Park. And it was just a lesson. I didn't know what I was going to everything that I was going to show. Yeah. But it kind of came out. Like I said, I'm a natural learner. Everything came out. All the knowledge that I had and I wanted to give to the kids, I'm just telling them everything. And Anthony, man, you kind of confusing the kids. And I'm like, all right, well, let me slow down. I'm going to slow down and took it from square one. Okay, anchor ink. Let's start with the anchor.
Okay.
You need an anchor in order to even fish, to even get your
Keep you
rod at the
grounded.
bottom of the water, and it keeps you stable.
Yeah.
An anchor means a lot to a lot of people. But in this case, you need your anchor in order to fish. If you don't got an anchor, your rod not getting to the bottom. You ain't getting no fish.
I like logos that have meanings.
Yeah, it means a
Some
lot.
people make them without a real meaning
a lot
behind
of people
it.
just make logos just because it look good, but it does have a meaning as far as what I see it as. And
so you got the family, they came out to support. It's necessary that family come out and support too, because a lot of people looking for saying that they're going to support, and the support does come in different variations. It might just be saying, hey, this is my flyer, share my flyer. It don't cost you no money to share my flyer.
Exactly.
It only can help somebody.
That's how it started. I mean, I made the flyers, and people were like, well, you fishing? Well, you selling fish? You got a boat? I said, no, I don't got a boat yet, but I am giving fishing lessons. It's kind of necessary if you don't know how to fish. And if you like to actually eat fish, it's good for you to learn how to fish, catch your own fish, even crab. I teach people how to crab.
Crabbing too?
And it's easy.
Is it special days that you do you differentiate them?
Yeah, it's different days, because if I got a lesson for fishing, I don't want to also have a completely different lesson for crabbing.
Okay.
Now, I could teach you how to crab, but my main focus that day will be on your fishing skills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So from day one, from when I was, it was my son, it was my cousin's son, and it was Ant-Man. He didn't know anything. He told me, he said, man, I'm stepping on my comfort zone. I'm 27 years old. I don't know how to fish at all.
Yeah.
I said, all right, well, come out.
He was willing to do it,
I said,
though.
come out. You going to learn with these kids. He said, all right, cool. I don't got a problem with it. Just teach me how to do it. So, I mean, I told him everything as far as tying knots, putting the anchor on, putting your hook on. And he like, man, I didn't know any of this. He said, it's simple, but he said, you make it look so simple, but if I wouldn't have came out here, I wouldn't even thought to do any of this. He said, I thought fishing rods came with everything on it.
I thought the same thing. That's why I said, I can't wait to come out there to get this real life experience in real time.
It's a different way that you got to do things. But he enjoyed the experience, and the kids did too. And my cousin, she actually came back out. She said, yeah, I'm going to come back out. And she came back out like a week later. And man, he been fishing with me. He went fishing with me about 2 weeks ago. 2, maybe 3 weeks ago.
So they've been reoccurring now.
Yeah, everybody's coming back. Everybody's saying, yeah, I would like to come back, because the experience, when you get out into the water and you see like the skyline of buildings and you just see the water, the sun, clouds, and you chilling, you look up and you're like,
yeah, nature has a gravitational pull about it. It just makes you feel more relaxed.
This feels great. And when you actually out there doing what I'm teaching you, if you catching fish from you actually throwing the rod out, you catching your own fish, you having way more fun. And it's like people that have came out for a 2.5 hour session, because I tell people, if I'm doing a single person, I take you out maybe 2.5, 3 hours. A group, 3.5, 4, because it takes longer to teach each person. So when people come out, I tell people, I say, look, I'm gonna teach you your lesson, and we're gonna go for the 2.5 hours, but after that, I'm a fish. You understand? I'm going to do my own fishing. Once the lesson's over, you're going to be on your own. I'm going to watch you, but you're going to be the one tying your rod, tying your knots, putting the weight on, the hook on. You're going to be fishing for yourself. And I'm going to set up my stuff, and I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to have my beer, and I'm going to look in the sky like you're doing. I'm going to relax for a second. So I'm there maybe about 4.5 hours extra. Past the lesson, and people stay for that time because they're relaxing, and they don't even notice it. They don't even notice it. They look at the time. It's like, oh, the lesson been over, and I'm like, see, you chilling,
but you're enjoying it. And now you probably want to come back.
Can I pay you some more? I'm like, nah, I already told you. For that past 4-something hours, I was fishing for myself. I got my own fish.
Speaking of which, how did you decide on your prices initially going in on this? If you had to break down your value of your time versus with the experience that you're providing.
The value of my time, I feel like my time is very important.
Yeah.
But if I'm giving it to kids, if I'm giving it to anybody that wants to listen and actually take in what I'm giving, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. So the value of it is really depending on if you actually taking in what I'm saying.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
If somebody's actually
if you call me today and you say, call me today or tomorrow and you say, well, I want to learn how to fish. Can we meet up so-and-so? No problem. I'll meet you at a lake, a pond with my fishing rod. Happy to tell you. But it's up to you if you want to actually listen and take it in and apply it to whatever you got going on, your life, your lifestyle. I don't have no problem giving the knowledge. And as far as the pricing, I priced it on kind of just starting it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Just getting a taste
like
for
fishing.
Just throwing it out there to see it. But I wanted to keep the kids at a low price simply because they're kids. But it takes a lot more to teach the kids.
Okay.
It takes a lot more to teach the kids, and it takes a little bit more to teach the adults once they get it. But it takes a lot of attention for kids. For adults, it's repetition.
Repetition versus attention.
Yeah, repetition for adults and a lot of attention for the kids. Because with the kids, they can do everything you taught them, and then once they go to do it, they'll follow everything you taught them as far as everything I taught them as far as putting the weight on, hook on, and just motions to throw your rod. But once you put that rod in their hand, they freeze.
Kind of forgetting, oh
and,
man, which one?
And I say, what's step one? And they're like, and I say, all right,
overload.
We're gonna do it over again. I don't have a problem with that. I say, all right, we're going to start from step one and we're going to go all the way through. With the adults, it's like, okay, well, they got all the steps. They just doing something wrong. Like one guy, he came out and I taught him how to put his weight on, everything. He said, all right, I got it. He put hooks on, put 2 hooks on his line. Throw the line, snap the hook. Snap the weight. I said, all right, you threw it too hard. Do it again. 7 weights later.
7 weeks later.
7 weeks later.
So that's the equipment side of things then.
Exactly. 7 weeks later. That's why I put more of the price on the adults. Mm-hmm. Because it's like they really throw something in the water. And
come on, you got to. All right, I didn't want to get the story before we started recording, but now I want to know, what's the worst thing that you've seen somebody throw in the water?
I've seen 3 different occasions. Make them real quick. My father, I've seen him recently throw a rod in the water.
Recently?
Just recently.
He's been doing it for a long time.
He's been fishing since I was a twinkle in his eye. But it's like when you don't concentrate for 1 second, something bad can happen. And it's like you don't want that bad thing to happen, so you got to focus in. And that's the main thing that I focus on with the kids. But I've learned that I have to focus into the same thing with the adults.
Yeah.
He let the rod slip right out of his hand. As soon as he threw it.
Was he showing somebody how to do it?
No, he was by himself. He was by himself minding his business. And he walked to a corner and he just threw it out. He said, I just threw my rod in the water. I'm like, man, I can't help you there. And another occasion was with my fiance. She recently did this. Was fishing last week. Last week. This is and she goes out on every single lesson with me.
Okay.
She knows every single step.
Power couple out here.
She knows every single step. She knows everything that I'm gonna say to people. And she stepped out there. When we go out, she said, "This is not a lesson, babe. I'm on my own. I can do it myself." I said, "All right, well,
got that confidence."
I say, "Do your thing, Superwoman. You got it." So she
like,
with the cape and all, and she got her own pink rod. Well, she had.
Oh, okay.
She had her.
I had past tense. We ain't gonna
say it too loud. She got her own stuff. So when she went to do it, she went to throw her rod out, and me looking at it, it was like she had a hard time because she didn't unlock her line. It's a procedure where you got to unlock and lock your line.
All right.
She didn't unlock her line, and I looked at her, and I'm like, "You didn't unlock your line." She said, "Babe, I didn't do it. What's wrong?" I said, "You didn't unlock your line." She goes back and do the same exact motion. Everything that she did wrong, she do it again. The rod slipped right out of her hand, right into the water. We tried.
Do we need some special gloves to make sure
yeah,
rods don't?
and I tell people, in the lesson, I say, act like this rod is worth $3 million.
3 million is cash.
If you $3 million cash, if you
hundreds?
lose this rod, you owe me $3 billion, $3 billion, million, whatever. You don't want to pay nobody nothing if you lose something.
And
so
more would be that's too much.
Even kids get scared. Like $3 billion, I don't got $3 billion, and I'm like, all right, well, don't lose my rod. And I say, with whatever hand you got on the bottom of the rod, hold on to it, and you won't lose the rod. And it's like, a kid stepped out and I bought a bunch of like mini rods for the kids, and he did exactly what he did everything that I told him to do, just didn't hold on to the rod. And that's the big part that I tell everybody, please hold on to the rod, because you put a lot of force behind.
I make me want to carry 2 rods just in case.
Yeah, you put a lot of force behind throwing it, and you forget that the rod is in this hand, so it can slip out at any minute. And that's like it's the funniest thing that I've seen. But, the other day, the same day that she threw her rod in the water, my homeboy, he was fishing with a casting net. You ever seen people fish with
I've seen
casting
them.
nets? And
I never actually seen nobody in person doing them, but yeah.
I was teaching him how to fish with a casting net. I said, tie it around your hand. I said, if you're not going to tie it to the pier, you're supposed to just tie it down somewhere before you throw it out. I said, brace it around your hand, tie a knot around your hand, then you can throw it out. He said, all right, I'll do it. He just wrapped it around his hand. He just wrapped it around his whole arm. And I said, all right, well, you got to give it a good spin and throw with your hips.
Okay.
He did it. The whole thing rolled right off his hand.
Just unraveled.
The cat unraveled right into the water, about 30 feet off into the water. So for about 20 minutes, I'm using my fishing rod trying to fish this thing back out the water. I caught it. I ended up getting it back because it wasn't my casting net in the first place. It was the girls that I was there teaching.
Oh, okay.
I was there giving a lesson to another girl, and she brought a casting rod out and he threw it right in the water. I'm like, man, you messing everything. So I got it back, and it's just strange things like that when you're not concentrating for that 1 second, something bad can completely happen. And that's the importance that I'm trying to get into the kids. Pay attention to everything that you're doing because it's important. Every step, every decision is important. And once they start to realize that, like my son, he hasn't got it all the way. Like, think about everything he's doing. He clumsy sometimes, and so am I. But if he can experience that with me and go through growing with me, I think it'll be way better. Like his turnout would be way better.
So when it comes to equipment, like what's your preferred? I mean, it seems like you got a lot of different equipment use variants going on. What's your preferred equipment to use as far as just say the simple fishing? And what would you say? Recommend somebody to bring out with them?
Well, don't forget your fishing rod.
Any particular type of rods or
if you want to start with
anything?
If you want to start with a fishing rod, I have mine right here.
Okay, let's see that. Let's bring it up.
Well, this one isn't all the way together yet. They start in 2 pieces. With this one, it's a Shakespeare. They call it an ugly stick. It's just a basic rod, but it got a lot of bend to it, a lot of durability to it.
Okay.
If you catch a big fish, it won't break all the time.
What's the heaviest it can hold?
The heavy part depends on your line.
Oh, okay, that's the line, see?
Yeah, because they got different pound line. If it can hold 10 pounds, 20 pounds, they got all the way up to 100 pounds. But you don't want that for this kind of rod because it's smaller. I don't know if you've seen before, maybe like people when you go out to beaches and they got like those long poles.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Fishing rods. They out there fishing for something big. Like they only like they cast way further and they out there fishing for something big. This is mainly for offshore fishing or boat fishing for those medium 20, 30-inch fish. And
that's a big medium fish.
I mean, it's a big fish. It's a big fish to a lot of people because they don't normally see it.
Yeah,
but me, it's like
a
fish about this big is not really that big. I'm trying to catch something gigantic where I can fillet and serve to everybody.
How long does a fish that size last for? Like if you serving it up, throw a party with it?
I would recommend, if because a lot of people don't like to eat frozen fish. They don't like to freeze their fish. They like to eat fresh fish. But some do. Like I'll catch a big fish, put it in the freezer, take it back out, thaw it out, clean it, fillet it, and cook it. You know what I mean? Like just in a fish fry. So yeah, like a fish that big would be best for a fish fry. Yeah. One of these rods, I tell people to get a big, like this right here is a reel.
Okay.
It's called a reel. I tell people to get a big reel simply because it holds a lot more line. I tell people to get it simply because when people throw out, and especially the people that I teach, they snap the line so much where it's like chewing. It's chewing down. Every time you snap a line, you lose line.
All right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it goes down, and if you get a little reel, you can't put that much line on it. So once you snap a line, you won't be able to throw back.
So it comes pre-packaged, like where you don't have to like bind it up on there or nothing.
Some of them do. Some of them do come with line on it. Some of them don't. The ones that don't, you have to basically tie a knot on the inside of it and just.
And you go through that process.
Yeah, I go through that. I go through from like step one, from putting the line on there all the way to catching your fish. That's part of the lesson.
Okay, sure, you getting your money's worth for sure. If you come out,
you're getting a lot of information. You're not just sitting around like some. And that's the thing. When people look at fishing, they look at it as, like I said, an old man sport or a senior citizen, something that senior citizens do. Like a lot of people told me, like, man, I just thought old people do that, or they anything involves just elders. And I'm like, man, y'all gotta get a fresh look on it. Like I'm 27 years old and I'm out here fishing every single day. I know a lot of people in their 20s that like to fish, but they not making it like an everyday thing. Me, I'll go fishing when I'm fresh off of work, and I work 12 hours a day.
And you can still go out there and
I'll still go fishing as soon as I get off.
Good way to relieve. Speaking of which, I wanted to go into that the misconception of that, because a lot of people say you gotta go out to fish really early in the morning. So you saying that's not the case? So what's the best time to fish then? Does that depend on the seasons?
It depends on because a lot of I haven't been cold fishing yet. Like you know when you ever seen like ice fishing? I haven't been ice fishing yet. You know when they make that little circle in the water in the ice and they put the line down there. I haven't done that yet, but I see a lot of fish being caught like that. Me, I like to go fishing during the night when I can.
So you can do it at night.
Yeah, you can fish.
I was looking it up and it was like, I don't know. You
can fish at night all the time, but the best way to follow it is you get online and you look up high tides and low tides for your area. That's a good way to.
What's like a particular website you check for that?
You can, if you get on Google and push in, like say I was going out Cambridge, Maryland, and I would type in high tides and low tides for Cambridge, Maryland. Or if I had a specific spot, like out there, it's a fishing pier called Jonas Green Fishing Pier. All right. And I would put in online high tides and low tides for Jonas Green Fishing Pier. And it would tell me the times that the high tide would come in, times that the low tide is going out. And I like to go fishing more during the high tides because that's when all the water's coming in, all the fish coming in. Yeah. At night, more than often that I've went, a lot of low tides have been like coming in where the water's not that high, and all you getting is maybe a few, maybe about 8 or 9 feet of water. That's the best. That's just like off if you fishing off a pier or a shore or something like that. But the best time for me, like I said, is at night. A lot of people go during the day simply because it's convenient.
Does the how much bearing does the type of bait you use? Because I heard like different color baits, like purple bait, orange bait. Some of those kind of attract certain fish.
Yeah, you fish the different bait like that is like the artificial bait, and you fish with artificial bait more I have in like fresh water,
fresh
like lakes,
best for
like
fresh water
lakes.
fish.
Like if you go up to Loch Raven. You ever been up to Loch Raven Reservoir?
Never to fish.
It's fresh. It's fresh water. Like if you ever been,
I know there's fish in there though.
Yeah, it's a lot of fish in there. But if you go up to like Loch Raven Reservoir, it's fresh water, and you can pay to get on a boat. It's like $60 to get on a boat, $30 to get on a boat without chairs. But if you go up there,
you want the chairs?
Yeah, I always want the chairs because like the just sitting on that metal is uncomfortable.
Okay.
But yeah, if you like the color bait, different color bait is used for lures and used for catching like bass. If you ever seen people like catching bass and like you watch on the channels with people using bait, skipping across the water, pulling, doing all
Yeah.
that stuff. That's like for those kind of fish, bass, trout, lake trout, stuff like that. Me, I use a lot of meaty baits, live baits.
Okay. What's your
Like
preferred ones?
my preferred bait is soft crab.
Soft crab.
Soft
Oh, I didn't
crab.
see. I didn't even know people use
A
soft crab for
lot,
bait.
a lot of people are surprised, have been surprised on what I could do with the soft crab. Because if you fillet it, cut everything off of it, cut the back off of it, cut the legs, cut the meat inside of it, and you find a way to put it on your hook, you can fish with it. Me, it's simple. I can do it automatically, but different people got their different ways of doing it. Different live bait. You got soft crab, you got shrimp, you got worms, of course, but it's different worms. You got your regular worm, you got your blood worms. Blood worms, they scare people because they bite.
Oh, they bite.
Yeah,
I want to get bit by the bite.
It's like imagine you seeing a worm and then you see a whole head come out of them, like.
And they try to bite you.
And
Like,
try to bite you.
I don't know how big is a bloodworm. Is
big as I mean, they come in
at least
different sizes.
the ones that you would
The ones that I
use
fish,
for
the
bait.
one that I typically fish with, maybe that long.
That's a big worm.
Yeah, maybe that long.
That's gonna bite you.
Maybe that long, and the head that pop out of it looked like a little bead, but you can see the teeth. It's 4 teeth that's in it, and I like to play a game with the kids. I scare the kids sometimes with the worms, and I pop the head out, and they're like, they run away and stuff like that. But that's just all fun and games. But I also teach them how to just put the worm on the hook. And like with bloodworms, they more effective because they actually have blood in them. Once they hit the water,
they actually looking for that.
yeah. Once they hit the water, the blood they start squirting blood out. Once you put the hook through them, put it in the water, it starts squirting blood out, and you got your fish. You can catch all kinds of fish off of bloodworms. I'm not even going to limit the kind of fish that you can catch with bloodworms, but you got bloodworms, crabs, shrimp, squid. I use other fish like minnows, the smaller fish. A lot of fish like
That's
to eat
good.
fish.
Shoot, I didn't know it was so many. I thought it was worms and artificial bait, and I thought that was it.
There's a lot more. Like I went out to a pier the other day. The lady had a hot dog on the end of her hook, and she caught a rockfish from it.
She caught a rockfish.
You
said the biggest fish you could ever caught was what kind of fish?
A rockfish.
Rockfish.
27-inch rockfish.
We're gonna insert that picture right here.
But yeah, she stepped out and caught a rockfish off a hot dog, and I'm like, the hot dog won't even stay on your hook.
She ate half the hot dog. The other half.
She did something with it, but you can fish with anything that you feel like you can fish with. If it catch fish, it can catch fish. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of stepping out and actually bringing a rod, bringing your tackle box, and seeing what you can do. And that's what the confidence that I'm trying to give everybody that want to learn, from kids to older people. You can step out. You can put your rod together. You can line your line up. You can put your bait on the water, put your bait on the hook. You can throw it out into the water, and you can maneuver how you need to catch your own food. It's important, because if you don't have that sense of mind, what else are you thinking out here? You get what I'm saying? If the kids don't have that sense, that's like, okay, what can I do for myself? What can I get up today and do for myself? What can I make happen?
And they, like you said, you walk them through the whole process. So they not only learning how to just catch the fish, like you said, you're showing them how to
everything
tie
behind
your rod, everything, cast it correctly.
Everything behind it. So if something goes wrong, they'll have some type of thought. It's like, okay, well, my line didn't go that far out that time. What could I have done to make it go far out next time?
Yeah.
Can I loosen something up? Can I throw harder? What can I do? Can I put a lighter weight on? Something like that. And that all matters, because if you get out into the water and you end up in some real rough water. Like, I've been to places where it looks calm on top, but once you put your line in the water, the undercurrent will take your rod. Yeah, it looks calm on top, but the undercurrent will really take your hook and your weight all the way down where you don't even notice it at. So you have to reel it back in, put a heavier weight on, where it can stay in that spot where you can catch the fish. It's simple stuff like that.
Do you do like floaters or the ones that actually go?
I do both. I show people how to fish with both. Yeah, so it's either I'm gonna have a anchor on my line, or I'll put the floater on, show you how to hook your worm and throw it out into the water where you can watch your. It's called a bobber. Well, I
Oh,
call it a
okay, that's
bobber.
what it's called.
Yeah, I call it a bobber. So it's bobbing in and out the water. I teach people how to watch that too. So
What about do locations as far as I don't want you to give away your main locations that you actually use, but maybe one location that you would say, okay, for first time fishers, if you go out here, you'll probably catch something.
I know for sure you would catch something at um, Fort Smallwood Park.
Okay, yeah,
I
I've never
know
been
for
there.
sure.
So
It's out. It's in Pasadena.
all right,
And
Pasadena.
it's not too far from here, actually. It's about 20, 25 minutes. And I know you would catch something out there. You won't catch a lot of big fish, but you can catch some fish. Like if you like the fish to eat your fish, you can definitely catch some fish out there.
What
eat.
like was the main type of fish that is known for? I guess the trout or something.
No, you can catch rockfish out there. You can catch croakers. Croakers are called croakers simply because when you pull them out of the water, they croak. They give like
frog.
like a frog. But it's a
Man,
lot.
got a fish growling at you.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like kids get excited when they see that. You get what I'm saying? A lot of kids don't see that. They don't see it at all. They don't know if a fish even made noise. The kid was like, I didn't even know a fish made that sound. I thought only frogs made it. Pulled it out the water and he listened to it and just, and he started like, he really looking at it like, what kind of fish is this? And I tell him what kind it is. And he's like, well, do they come bigger? Can I keep it? Can I take it home? Like, no, you can't take it home unless you're going to eat it. It's going to die on the way home. But it's
he
like,
was trying to put it in the water and put it in a fish tank somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't kept a like one of those fish out the water, but for Smallwood, they come like you can catch nice size croakers, nice size white perch. A lot of people eat white perch. Some people don't. I really don't. I don't really know what's the stats on that, but I like it. It's good.
Right.
It's good. You can clean it easy. You can fry it easy. Got bones in it, but that's for people who like bones in their fish.
Catfish and stuff like that.
Yeah, catfish and stuff like that. So they got mainly white perch, croakers, and it's a fish called spot. They call them spot simply because they got a big spot, a big brown spot that sit on the side of them, all of them. That's why they call them spot.
Spotty fish.
Yeah, but they good eating.
So is it like, does the like fishing off a dock versus fishing off a boat? Is it a big difference?
Big difference. There's a way bigger difference simply because you're in deeper water. You go in a boat, you're in way deeper water. You don't even have to cast out. If you want to, like, if you run into a good charter and, like, you go out, maybe, my last boat trip was out a spot called Kent Island.
Okay.
It's like
Kent Island.
Yeah, it's Kent Island. I'm really. It's like south. I know it's south. I can't tell you which area.
Water.
It's deeper water. But when you go out there and you get into the boat, we fish for about 12 hours. All you gotta do is drop your line down. Last time I caught a stingray.
Caught a stingray?
Yeah, me and my brother.
What do you do with a stingray when you catch it?
We give it to people.
So you just keep it?
Yeah, we keep it and we give it to people. It's people that actually cook them. Cut them up, cook them.
Question: could stingray sting you outside of the water? I don't know.
If they catch you wrong, if you're not paying attention, that's why I say if you're not paying attention, it's like they can hit you with their tail. They can do anything to you. Like if you actually look at a stingray's tail, it got like some like spikes on it where it's trying to protect itself. So
yeah, I was wondering about that. The only time I've seen stingray, of course, is at the aquarium. So
yeah, I've caught like me and my brother.
And they tell you can't touch them.
We caught big ones. And we know people like last year. Like I said, we were giving fish to the shops and stuff, so people would pay for them. So we would catch stingrays.
That's an exotic fish to have in your house.
Yeah,
I got a stingray. You want to see my stingray?
Yeah, you never know what you catch in deep water. Like last time, my brother caught a fish called a Kobe.
A Kobe.
Yeah, it was a fish called Kobe. I'm like, go figure, right?
Caught a Kobe. How did he get his name? Like,
I don't know.
Is it like the colors or something?
The color on it was brown and like the bottom of it was silver, but it looked like a shark. It looked like a little mini shark, but it wasn't. And I'm like, man, how you run into that? That was the only fish that was the only different fish that we caught that day. So you never know what you can run into on a boat. When you're on shore, like you fishing offshore, you kind of know the area that you're in and what kind of fish are in that area. Mostly here in Baltimore, everywhere you go, and if it's not like a lot of fresh water, and most of the salt water around here, it's like a lot of catfish. And that's what people know. Like if you hear anybody go out fishing here, they catching catfish. Anyway, you're gonna hook into a
You're
catfish.
gonna at least catch that. I heard
Anywhere.
one of my guys I work with, he was telling me the other day, he was like, I took my whole family out to fish. He was excited. He was asking one guy, so I guess he's been fishing for years as well. He was like, yeah, what kind of bait, what kind of rods? They went out there, he's like, we ain't catch nothing.
Yeah.
So
that's what and like my first time fishing this year, my first time going out this year, I was at a bridge down in Curtis Bay, and I had caught like a mini catfish. It was that big, but the guys that were out there before me weren't catching anything. Like they weren't catching anything, and I stepped out there. I had some worms, and I caught a catfish. They're like, "Man, how you catch that? Where you?" And I went to the other side of the pier. So it's like in me, I do the stuff that people don't do when they fishing. If I see a bunch of people over here fishing and not catching nothing, my common sense is going to say go to the other side of the bridge and try to catch a fish. You understand? So when I did that, I caught the fish, and they're like, "Man, how you do that?" I'm like, "Man, here, you can have this fish." Like you for real? Like it shocked them simply because I was handing them a fish. But to me, it's regular. I'll give a fish to anybody who want it because I can catch another one. I said, "Man, you can have it." He's like, "Well, what was you doing?" And I showed him what I was doing. So in all of that, after all of that, I called my fiance. I'm like, "Yeah, this dude was excited." She like, "That's all the more reason you need to start your business." And blah blah blah. And I'm like,
that pressure push you towards towards your goal.
She put a lot of pressure on me, man.
It's necessary pressure.
I love it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love it because I put pressure on her at the same time. But after that, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Like that's what it's all about. If I can fish. I fish to feed a family. If you need a fish, I give you a fish. If you need a lesson, I give you the lesson. Don't matter.
So, one of the things I like to ask people is the driving force behind everything, what they do and why they do it and why they continue to do it. And I kind of think I might have the answer already, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. What is your big why behind why you feel like I have to keep pushing on? One of the days you feel like I'm tired, like you said, you work 12 hours, you get off of 12-hour work, I still want to have this experience. Like, why do you feel like keep going?
One is, like I said, I make fishing a competition for me. It's like when I hand people fish, they're like, "You're not gonna keep it." I'm like, "Nah, man, I can catch plenty of these," and I make it a competition with myself. How many times can I go out and catch the biggest fish? Like this year, it's like within me, my dad, and my father, we have our little competitions, and we bet for at the end of the year.
Y'all actually making bets.
We make bets. Like whoever catch the most fish and the biggest fish by the end of the year get a certain amount. So I'm like, how
y'all keep getting new opportunities?
Yeah. We go out fishing all the time. So when we go out, the bet starts. As soon as we throw our rod in the water, and I'm like, I make it on competition with myself where it's like, how can I make myself better? How can I perfect my craft? Because I've been like that since day one, since I saw the guys on ESPN fishing. You know what I'm saying? How can I get to that level? How can I maneuver my money situations and what I'm doing to get a boat? How can I get a boat? What I'm going to do with the boat? How can I teach my son how to drive a boat? You get what I'm saying? Like it goes further than me. But I started with myself. I compete with myself in order to just give everybody the lessons and the knowledge.
Knowledge. So what? I know you spoke to this a little bit earlier, but what permits and licensing requirements do you actually need to go out there on the water? Because I know, like you said, they got the fish police or the water police.
They got well, when you go out on it's certain charters that tell you don't need a license when you go out into a charter, but it's certain if you're fishing offshore, you definitely need a license. You need a license if you're fishing in salt water. You need a license for salt water. If you're fishing in fresh water, you need a license for fresh water. You can get the license for, like, if you temporarily fishing for the week, you can get it. It costs about $7-8. If you want it for the year and you plan on doing it repeatedly, it costs maybe about $15-16. You can get it at Walmart, Dick's Sporting Goods. You can even go online. Now they don't have it. Walmart isn't doing it as far, like, since this.
Oh, they not?
Like, they haven't.
Oh,
giving
wow.
out any fishing license. I went and tried to do it for my cousin. I took my cousin, and they're like, yeah, we can't process any information and do it on it. I'm like, why?
Let's say, what's the difference?
I really didn't understand that, but they're not doing any fishing licenses right now. So you can get online at marylandfishing.gov and marylandfishinglicense.gov, and they'll set you up. It's called they label freshwater and saltwater as coastal and non-coastal. Like non-coastal is freshwater, coastal is saltwater.
All right.
So I tell people to get both of them because you never know where
I'm
I'm
about to say it depends on where you're going to go.
Yeah,
Do you know
you
where
never
you're
know
going to
where
show
I'm
up
gonna take you. I don't take everybody to the same spot. I take when people it's certain people that call me that already have their equipment. They just want a refresher or just different ways of doing it. And I say, well, do you want to catch big fish or are you just coming for the lesson or do you really want to fill your cooler up?
Yeah.
They're like, well, I want to fill my cooler up.
You can ask them what their goal is for the day.
Yeah, I ask people, I'm like, well, what kind of fishing are you trying to do? And they're like, well, I'm keeping my fish. I say, all right, well, I got the perfect spot for you. And I take them to drive. I mean, to me, driving across the Bay Bridge and back is nothing. I take the drive, but most people don't really feel like doing it. So I ask them, do you want to go out far or do you want to keep it local? And some people say, well, where's the most fish at? Where's the better fish? And I tell them, and then we settle everything like that. So, yeah, that's how it happens.
So, as right now, as far as marketing, then how do you market everything at the current stage?
Right now, it's marketing. I talk to everybody. I've gone to a lot of like fishing shops. Every fishing shop that I go into, I hand them my card.
Oh, you leave cards there?
Yeah, I leave cards there. I talk to, like, if they got a boat, if they got a charter, I tell them about what I do. I introduce myself, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. It's except for like Instagram and Facebook. I post everything on there. Everybody know me as Fisher Price or Captain Price because I wear a captain hat everywhere I go.
You wear your captain hat out there?
I wear a captain hat everywhere I go. So it's like everybody know me as the fisherman, and I like it because you don't know too many other people that look like me that's out here promoting fishing or promoting fishing lessons. So I like having that own identity. And as far as marketing more, I'm trying to get like a fundraiser started soon and like different programs where it's like I get a group of kids out where I can get a group of kids out and have a whole day of fishing lessons
field
or doing
trips
something.
And things like that.
Yeah, like a field trip. And I want this thing. I know it can expand into something way bigger than I even imagined it. But
it will, and it's about to.
Yeah, it's all about putting the work in, man. It's all about putting the work in. And I don't want, like, when I started, I was just putting the flyer out on Instagram, posting it. But I'm like, man, I need to do more. And the pressure.
Any special hashtags or anything y'all use?
Special hashtags.
Like, is it like anchored ink?
I just
hashtag anchor ink.
Yeah, I just
so people can identify, like, okay, if I search this hashtag, I can find y'all.
I just put anchored ink at anchored ink. I put it on here about 4 or 5 times. Anchored ink at anchored ink. Even on the pictures at anchored ink.
And that's necessary because a lot of times we're overlooked about those pictures that get shared. Like they say, memes stuff that get shared, but nobody knows where they came from.
Yeah, nobody knows where they came from.
At least you need some identification. Like, boom, share it, and you gonna come back. It's clear where it came from. It came from me.
I'm leaving my mark. I try to leave my mark everywhere. Like I left a kickback the other day. I went to a cookout, and it was my homegirl birthday. But I left there. When I left there, everybody in that party had my card. You know what I'm saying? So before I left, hey, hello. Even if I didn't talk to you the entire time in the party, you knew my name before I
met somebody that do fishing.
Yeah,
and it's in the back of your mind at the very least.
Y'all got kids. Y'all bring them out, and people are like, oh, yeah, well, you go crabbing? Yes, I'll teach you how to crab. You know what I'm saying? I can catch crabs for you. You can pay me for them. It don't matter. I'll do it. It's just that initial introduction.
And it's
I'm not shy to nobody.
Okay, yeah. Some people, like, they got all the information. They might have exactly what you need. And they be right next to you. But they don't never tell you. You won't know.
And to be honest, I used to be that guy. I used to be that guy that's very silent. I'll sit off in the corner, but I'm the guy. I used to be the guy that sit off in the corner but know a lot. But you would only know it by talking to me. But from starting this and like changing my mindset. It's like, in order for people to know, you got to open your mouth. You gotta put it out there. If in order for people to know you and to know you and know what you're doing, you got to put it out there because nobody else is gonna do it for you. And that's the message that I'm trying to put behind these kids. Get up, do something for yourself because nobody's gonna do it for you. No one.
Actual and factual. The next thing I'm gonna ask you about is actually inspired by the Black Running Organization. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. But they're a group of brothers and sisters in the city that got together, united, and decided to, do a run. They do it every Saturday and Wednesday. But this particular thing is they're based off of their slogan, "Let's Grow." So, what are the next 3 major goals you want to have in your business in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, I want to have a boat.
That's
that. I want to have as many boats as I could possibly get. Okay. But I do want to start with a boat. Boat.
What's your vision goal? What that boat look like in your mind? Size of that boat.
Size of that boat would carry about the dream boat would carry about 15, 16 people and have a underdeck to it where I can go, where people can go and chill. But the boat that I'm looking at now is pretty more kind of basic level. It fit about 6 or 7 people. Got a hood to it, block the sun. Can put a motor back there, but it can fit. It's comfortable. But any boat that I get, I know I can teach people on it. Yeah. And it's like I can work with what I have. I'm that guy. Like I'm not picky about anything. I'll work exactly what I have, and you'll get the same experience from it.
So we got the boat.
We got the boat.
Yeah.
More supplies. Way more supplies. Like I have a lot of fishing rods now, but fishing rods go down like cars sometimes. Like they last for a long time, and then all of a sudden, crack. You like what happened? and you like what happened? I need a new fishing rod. So I just want to have the boat, more supplies, and just more people. I want more people to come out and just give their time. Like I tell you, just expand the business. I want this, and I want Anchored Ink in everyone's ear, like everybody ear. When you think of fishing, you think of me. That's what I want.
And like you have a niche for it.
Yeah,
you have the niche for it.
And I want people to feel that same way. Like especially the kids when they get 10
years. We had a team for it and everything.
Exactly, and like I want a team. That's another thing. With the boat comes a team because I saw like recently, a friend of mine showed me Michael Jordan's fishing team.
I didn't know he had a fishing team.
I didn't even know he had a fishing team. Michael Jordan has a fishing team that has been winning trophies for the past couple of years. Right. It's like, go figure. Michael Jordan winning trophies on any level, but he has a full fishing team with a full yacht that goes out fishing for trophy fish. They just caught like the biggest marlin. It was like what's the fish, the swordfish.
Oh, he caught a swordfish too?
Yeah, he caught a swordfish. And I'm like, man, I didn't even know Michael Jordan had a fishing team. And like that's the stuff.
I think a lot of people just learned that just now.
You won't even know it unless you just go look for it. And that's what I want. I want people when they hear fishing, they go look up. They go look. Oh yeah, that's that guy that goes fishing. What can he do for me? And that's about it.
So we got the expansion, the boat, the growth. We got all that going on. But the one thing that people need to know, they need to know where they can find you. They need to know how they can reach out to you, how they can connect. Can you tell them your socials and the best way to connect with you?
You can reach me on my Instagram at Anchored Ink. It's just Anchored Ink. ANCOREDINC. On Facebook, you can reach me personally at Eric Price. That's my name. You can reach me on Instagram at another page, __ Fisher Price. You can reach me on email at anchoredfishing2020@gmail.com. And that's it. So, and from there on, because I don't like to give everybody my number. I'm kind of
understandable.
I'm kind of cautious like that.
It might change anyway. Yeah. The video is live forever. So
yeah. I don't like to give everybody my number, but when I do set up lessons, you do get my number. Like if you contact me via email or Instagram or Facebook, anything, and you say, well, yeah, I want to set something up, and I say, okay, well, here's my number. You can call me that way, and we'll set everything up.
So y'all need to reach out, connect. and build, grow, learn, and remember that dreams plus action equals life.
Yes, sir.